Has the Loch Ness Monster revealed itself? Are we finally closing in on the truth behind one of Scotland's oldest legends? A newly captured photograph taken on the misty shores of Dores Beach suggests the cryptid might not be folklore after all. A sighting that could finally offer undeniable proof of its existence. Welcome to Monster Myth. In this special episode, we dive into a groundbreaking 2025 report, the first documented Nessie sighting of the year, and explore what this image could mean for nearly a century of cryptid history surrounding the elusive Loch Ness Monster. On January 29, 2025, a man visiting Dores Beach in the Scottish Highlands spotted something strange moving just beneath the surface of Loch Ness. From the shoreline, he noticed a disturbance in the otherwise calm water, waves pushing outward from a single dark mass. With phone in hand, he captured a photo. Taken in clear winter weather, the image shows an unidentified shape breaking through the loch's still surface. No boats, mist, or any known cause for the ripples. According to Amy Todd, marketing manager at the Loch Ness Center, conditions that day were ideal for spotting unusual activity. There was no fog or wind, just open water. At first glance, the image captures what appears to be a dark mass beneath the calm surface of Loch Ness. As the object moves, it creates ripples in the water, like something massive is causing the disturbance. The mass is described as part of a large body submerged in the loch, possibly belonging to the creature locals call Nessie. The sighting lasted several minutes, until finally the creature disappeared into the dark depths below. Although the man who captured the photo has elected to remain anonymous, his image has been submitted for expert review. While it's still hard to draw any concrete conclusions, the movement and shape remains consistent with decades of similar sightings. The Loch Ness Center has since reached out to Alan McKenna of Loch Ness Exploration. They've previously collaborated with his group and the University of Aberdeen to study the loch using sonar, drones, and other advanced technology. They've also organized surface watch events that invited hundreds of participants around the world to help monitor for unusual activity. While some sightings are eventually attributed to seals, birds, or even boat wakes, McKenna has not ruled out the possibility that this image could be something more. In a public statement, he said, "Every observation adds to our understanding, whether it's potential evidence of Nessie or new insights into the loch's unique ecosystem." For years, the Loch Ness Monster has managed to stay hidden in the loch's murky waters. It's said to swim near the surface on occasion, giving us quick glimpses before slipping back below. This photo might be the most convincing evidence we've seen yet. Could this be the return of Nessie? For now, it's too early to tell, but one thing's for sure. It has breathed new life into a decades-old mystery. The sighting has already prompted action. In response, the Loch Ness Center is launching another search for the creature, calling it The Quest. This May, volunteers will scan the water from 13 vantage points around the loch for over 6 hours. Searchers aboard the center's boat will also deploy a hydrophone to listen for acoustic signals underwater. As of now, this stands as the first officially reported Nessie sighting of 2025. When I first saw this photo, I felt a flicker of hope. Of all the world's famous cryptids, the Loch Ness Monster remains one of the most elusive. Unlike Bigfoot or Mothman, Nessie's domain is underwater, making sightings rare and uncertain. But with sightings like this one, backed by clear conditions and advancing technology, perhaps we're entering a new era in the search. With more eyes on the loch and better tools in our hands, it's starting to feel less like a question of if we'll find something, and more a question of when. Before this recent sighting, the largest search for the Loch Ness Monster in 50 years took place in 2023. Volunteers from around the world joined the hunt, using drones and hydrophones to capture underwater sounds, all while keeping a constant watch over the expanse of Loch Ness. Despite their efforts, no conclusive evidence of the elusive creature surfaced, no pun intended. As of this moment, the official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Register has recorded a total of 1,161 sightings. The 2025 report, the first of the year, has yet to be added to the list. The Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie as it's affectionately known, has been a major subject of interest in the study of cryptids for centuries. One of the most popular theories is that Nessie could be a plesiosaur, a type of marine reptile that lived during the Jurassic period and somehow managed to survive the mass extinction event that wiped out the species millions of years ago. Descriptions of Nessie often portray her as a large sea creature with an elongated neck, thick body, seal-like flippers, and a long tail. But as with many stories, the details shift from one witness to another. Some people claim seeing large shapes moving just below the water's surface, while others report spotting sudden ripples or wakes across the loch. Loch Ness is a place that feels as mysterious as the creature it's famous for. Stretching 23 miles long and about 2 miles wide, this deep, dark freshwater loch sits nestled in the Scottish Highlands, encompassed by dense forests and rocky hills. Peat deposits from the surrounding land give the water a darker appearance, making it harder to see what lies below, as if the loch was meant to conceal whatever might dwell in its depths. At its deepest point, Loch Ness reaches 788 feet, making it one of the largest and deepest bodies of freshwater in Scotland. It's no wonder whatever secrets lie here can remain hidden for years. The area itself is rich in history and legend, with ancient castles and ruins around the landscape creating the perfect setting for some of the most famous epics of all time, like Shakespeare's Macbeth and the movie Braveheart. The first recorded sighting of Nessie goes all the way back to the year 565, and it's tied to Saint Columba, an Irish priest and Christian missionary who was visiting Scotland at the time. The story goes that Columba and his followers were near Loch Ness when one of them was allegedly attacked by a water beast that mauled him and dragged him underwater. Columba, having a reputation for his faith and miracles, is said to have ordered the creature to stop attacking and retreat back into the depths. Some skeptics argue that this early sighting might not be connected to the modern-day Nessie. Regardless, this is the first recorded mention of the Loch Ness Monster. But the legend of the Loch Ness Monster truly took off in 1933, thanks to an article published by the Inverness Courier. The story was based on a sighting by a woman named Aldi McKay, who was driving along the A82 with her husband when she spotted something extraordinary. She described seeing a massive creature swimming in the loch. Its body resembled that of a whale, rolling and plunging in the water for nearly a minute. The water churned around it like a cauldron, creating waves so large they could have been caused by a passing steamer. Not soon after, it disappeared in a boiling mass of foam. Aldi and her husband were dumbfounded. It was obviously no ordinary undersea creature. Just 3 months later, another encounter took place. George Spicer and his wife were driving near the loch when they saw a large creature with a long, wavy, narrow neck cross the road in front of their car before slipping into the water. Spicer's account was published in the Courier 2 weeks later. Soon, letters flooded in from readers describing similar sightings. The creature was officially dubbed the Loch Ness Monster, and it wasn't long before the nickname Nessie caught on. Then, a year later in 1934, the most famous image of Nessie was taken, the surgeon's photograph by Dr. Robert Kenneth Wilson. It showed what appeared to be a slender neck and head rising from the loch. For nearly 60 years, this photo was hailed as one of the most convincing pieces of evidence of the Loch Ness Monster's existence. But in 1975, the Sunday Telegraph published a confession from Ian Wetherill, who admitted that the infamous surgeon's photograph wasn't real. The truth was that the image had been an elaborate hoax orchestrated by his father, Marmaduke Wetherill. Marmaduke Wetherill worked for the Daily Mail, where the photo was first published. After being publicly ridiculed by his employer for claiming to have found Nessie's footprints, which were later revealed to have been made with a hippo's foot, Marmaduke sought revenge. He devised a plan to fabricate evidence of a sighting, enlisting the help of Robert Kenneth Wilson to sell the image to the Daily Mail. With Wilson's reputation as a respected doctor, the photo was taken in good faith. In spite of the scandal and apparent hoax, the photo remains the most iconic image of the Loch Ness Monster to this day. All these sightings mark the beginning of Nessie's place in Scottish folklore. Fast forward to 2025, it seems the story is far from over. The Loch Ness Center is still verifying the authenticity of this recent photo, and we may have a definitive answer soon. Considering the weather conditions on the day it was taken, it's almost certain that natural waves or weather disturbances couldn't have caused the sighting. But let's take a closer look at this cryptid from a scientific perspective. One of the most intriguing investigations into the Loch Ness Monster was just a few years ago and came from a group of international scientists led by Neil Gemmell of the University of Otago, New Zealand. Using DNA samples from Loch Ness, Gemmell's team identified over 3,000 different species, some so small they're barely visible to the naked eye. Unfortunately, they didn't show any signs of dinosaurs, giant catfish, sturgeon, or sharks, nothing remotely like a prehistoric monster. The research team did find something that might surprise you, though.
There is a very significant amount of eel DNA found at pretty much every location sampled. Our data doesn't reveal their size, but the sheer quantity of the material says that we can't discount the possibility that there may be giant eels in Loch Ness. Therefore, we can't discount the possibility that what people see and believe is the Loch Ness Monster might actually be a giant eel.
Now, it doesn't sound as exciting as a massive prehistoric sea creature lurking beneath the waters, but here's the thing. The largest known European eel grows up to 4 feet long and weighs close to 12 pounds. That's not exactly monster territory, but it adds a new layer to the mystery. If you ask me, I think Nessie just hasn't left enough DNA behind to be caught yet. Gemmell did point out that they may have sampled the wrong places at the wrong time, or its genetic material couldn't be matched because it doesn't exist in any known database. The giant eel theory offers a potential explanation for those sightings going all the way back to 1933, when the Inverness Courier first reported on the Loch Ness Monster. Over the years, there have been plenty of high-profile attempts to prove the monster's real, including an extensive search funded by the BBC in 2003 using 600 sonar beams. Still, could it be that the elusive plesiosaur that everyone's been searching for is actually a giant eel hiding in the depths? While this new photo might offer a glimpse of something larger and stranger, the truth is that science is still cautious. But like Gemmell said, proving something does not exist is pretty much impossible, which means anything's possible. How about you? Do you believe the Loch Ness Monster is a prehistoric water beast, a giant eel, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Sightings of the Loch Ness Monster have continued throughout the past decade. Among them was a curious incident in 2013 that caught worldwide attention. David Elder, an amateur photographer, was snapping pictures of a swan from the shore at Fort Augustus, located southwest of Loch Ness, when he noticed a long bow-shaped wave forming on the water.
There's something there. Here we are at Fort Augustus. Something moving in the water on Loch Ness. No idea what it is.
Elder insisted the only thing that could have caused it was a solid black object beneath the surface. The water was still, and there were no boats or activity on the loch at the time. His photos and video capture a black area about 15 feet long, which gradually developed into the mysterious bow wave. Then in 2014, one of the most unexpected Nessie sightings came, not from the shore, but from space. A massive silhouette of an apparent sea creature was spotted on Apple Maps satellite imagery, just south of Dawes along the loch, not far from where the latest 2025 sighting was reported. It appeared to show something large moving in the water, measuring around 100 feet long, with what looked like two giant flippers propelling it forward. After months of analysis, thanks to its massive size and the absence of any boats in the area, scientists were unable to come up with any other logical explanation.
The shape of the boat would have to be quite odd to create a wake pattern like that. And of course, there's no boat. Where's the boat?
The images remain credible, just a shadowy form heading south underwater, which some even suggested resembled a giant catfish. By 2023, a previously unseen set of photos showing a serpent-like creature in Loch Ness was released. Chi Kelly, a translator, finally came forward with images she took in 2018 while having lunch with her husband at the Dawes Inn in Inverness, Scotland, once again within the vicinity of the 2025 incident. The photos show a strange, serpentine figure rolling across the loch before vanishing. Kelly had kept the images to herself for years, afraid of public ridicule. But when the largest Loch Ness monster search since the 70s kicked off that same year, she was encouraged to share what she saw: a creature moving steadily with no visible head or neck, and no sign of it coming up for air. Steve Feltham, a hunter who has spent over 30 years searching for Nessie, praised the images as some of the most significant evidence he's seen.
They are the most compelling surface images of the phenomenon. It's rare to see something so clear on the surface. It is a moving creature and totally unexplained. They are remarkable. They are vindication for all the people who believe there is something unexplained in Loch Ness. They are exactly the type of pictures I have been wanting to take for 3 decades. They warrant further investigation.
Then, just last year in 2024, an avid monster hunter from Ireland spotted not one, but 2 large wakes appearing in separate places at the same time while watching via webcam. He strongly believes that there may be more than one creature lurking in its depths. The gentleman has been monitoring the loch for years from his home in County Donegal and says the wakes weren't a coincidence. In his words, there are obviously 2 creatures in the area right now. One of the clips he captured even shows what appears to be a reddish-brown hump rising in the middle of a bumpy body gliding across the water, not quite like a seal or an eel, and definitely not a bird. Scottish folklore is brimming with mythological sea creatures, including the Kelpie, a shape-shifting water spirit with the appearance of a horse, the Boobrie, a giant water bird that lures and drowns humans, and the Selkies, said to live as seals in the water but can shed their skin to become human on land. While their origins span different regions of Scotland, these legends share one thing in common. They dwell in murky waters like the Loch Ness. For decades, recorded sightings and countless theories about the Loch Ness monster have stirred up curiosity and led to all kinds of investigations. Though not without its share of hoaxes and disappointments, the legend lives on, and believers remain dedicated to the hunt. As we move deeper into the 21st century, technology continues to advance, giving us more tools than ever to uncover the truth about Nessie, Bigfoot, and any other cryptid you might be determined to find. With renewed interest brought about by this recent sighting, whatever's hiding beneath the dark depths of Loch Ness may soon be revealed.